Is underway. Early voting is underway in Maryland, and more than 125,000 people have already voted so far.
Yeah, everywhere you go. Since 7 o'clock here this morning, you have been out there exercising your right to vote on the first day of voting at the polls. And the concern, other than long lines and wait times, COVID-19. WMAR 2 News' Dave Detling is live right outside of Dempsey's Brew Pub at Camden Yards. Talk about safety at the polls. Dave, talk about it.
Hey there, Jamie. Hey there, Kelly. Well, waiting in line all depends on what time you come, but really safety, like you said, remains the #1 top priority in addition to casting the vote. Here at Camden Yards, you can see a very short line. They are practicing social distancing. They've got their masks on, talking to voters. And one local doctor, they say during the pandemic, you shouldn't fear the polls.
Well, I think we kind of feared early voting a little bit, wondering what the line was going to be. Here we are at Camden Yards, which I thought was going to be one of the signature areas, and everything's moving smoothly.
It was no fuss, no muss for the first day of early in-person voting at Dempsey's Brew Pub. Despite the lines of socially distant voters, people were in and out in under an hour, some waiting as little as 35 minutes.
They're very sufficient in there about keeping things clean and making sure that everyone has everything that they need.
Tia Dingle and her family, including Mom Rita, said safety was important to them, especially with the threat of COVID-19.
I've never experienced anything like this in my life. And that's why I have on 2 masks and this visor.
They have hand sanitizer as well. I just prefer to use my own.
Medical experts say this family has the right idea.
The most important thing we're dealing with right now is voting and the pandemic, and how can we do both of those without compromising safety of people or, the safety of fair elections.
Dr. Daniel J. Morgan, professor of epidemiology and public health and infectious disease with the University of Maryland, says in-person voting is relatively safe. He says practicing good hygiene is key, along with the 6-foot distance rule, especially when entering your polling place.
The highest risk factor is those people who are close together, so within 6 feet generally, and that it can spread through the air, often in large droplets. And that's what masks help with. And that's what maintaining a distance helps with.
Back at Camden Yards, people said everything was clean. And with their masks on, they were glad they could exercise their right safely.
It went smoothly, as you expected to. There was no bad behaviors, no nothing. No one had to ask to move away. It was all good. It was a good experience. There's no reason not to come out and vote.
And Maryland's Department of Health will have volunteers at various polling site locations to help out with safety concerns. Again, face masks are required. Remember that the polls close each night at 8 p.m. And again, early in-person voting goes until November 2nd. We're live at Camden Yards. Dave Detling, WMAR 2 News.